शॉर्ट टर्म इन्वेस्टमेंट है।
ट्विंस, दो एसेट मैनेज करने पड़ेंगे।
बॉटम लाइन का कुछ करो।
कितना महंगा, लिक्विडिटी कम है।
लॉन्ग टर्म इन्वेस्टमेंट,
फेस वैल्यू में मत जाइए, अंदर से मस्त है।
एक समोसा 4 लोग, म्यूचुअल फंड है क्या?
Please read the offer document carefully before investing.
सुना, सारा इंडिया बोल रहा है इन्वेस्टमेंट की भाषा। किसने सिखाई? UTI म्यूचुअल फंड।
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Please read the offer document carefully before investing.
सबको पता है किंड से पानी
100% प्योर होता है।
पहले आरओ से घुली हुई अशुद्धियाँ निकलती हैं
और यूवी से बचे हुए बैक्टीरिया भी।
आखिर सीख ही गई।
Kent वाटर प्योरीफायर से मिले आपको पानी 100% प्योर और टेस्टी।
तो आप किंड का पानी पीना कब शुरू कर रहे हैं?
Air conditioning that uses only the most nature-friendly technologies. We call it care conditioning from General.
There is a season for everything. A time to be born and a time to die. A time for peace and a time for war.
Edelweiss 20s Challenge, live and exclusive on Z Sports and Dun Sports.
New range of LG star-rated air conditioners with India's only 12-step Neo-Plasma filter. It cleans the air of 99.9% impurities, leaving you to breathe pure. LG air conditioners. Breathe pure.
On the show today, is India fast losing its reputation as the safe haven for foreign tourists and working professionals? What are the experiences of the white woman tourist in particular? Voices from across the country tell us like it is. There isn't a city in this country where you won't spot them. Strolling down the footpaths in obvious awe, getting lost in the bylanes and loving it. Travel guide in hand, a trail of urchins behind, taking in all they can, the quintessential fair-skinned, light-eyed, eclectically clad tourist always gets that second glance. Sometimes many, many more.
I love the people, the sun obviously, just the feeling of the country.
Absolutely love it. I want to come back for 3 months next year.
Having a really good time. People are fantastic.
But today on the show, we're not indulging in yet another ode to tourism and the million visitors we earn ourselves around the year. On Heart of the Matter, we live a day in the life of the white woman tourist in India. To learn why her experience as a lone, single traveller to this particular country is more of a trauma than anything else.
Indian men equate white skin with loose kind of value systems.
Men look at you and you being white, you being a girl automatically means that you're you're available.
And have the impression that we're on to bed with anyone. Most people want to speak to me. A lot of people would like to say hello.
Do they think about, raping me? Are they just interested in me because of the color of my skin?
Sexual harassment of women is a worldwide predicament. In India, the story gets more complicated. For the average male with no exposure or education, the white woman is the ultimate fancy. If she's fair-skinned, she must be amoral. If she's alone, she's screaming to be bed. If she returns your stare with half a smile, that's the end of all speculation and time to act.
In India, men go the stage further, where they actually not only look but they touch. And I can say that I have travelled extensively around the world, and I have never been sort of touched up elsewhere. In England, such an act would be treated as an offence. It would kind of be like a physical sexual assault. In India, it's kind of like it comes part and parcel of travelling in India, which is sad.
Tourists are the most vulnerable and today the most frequently targeted victims of sexual harassment, especially those who haven't been long enough in the country to read the signals right, especially for the white woman, thanks to the Indian male obsession that has far from dwindled, if not worsened 1,000-fold. Perhaps that was what went horribly wrong with the unsuspecting 15-year-old Scarlett Keeling, a dark spot in the nation's reputation as a host and one that will not be forgotten easily by the country or the rest of the world. Scarlett was found raped and murdered in Goa's Anjuna beach on 18th February 2008. And it took her family more than a month to get justice, bring the guilty to the fore, and finally recover Scarlett's body. Drugs, sex, murder, rape. These are words that are being increasingly associated today with popular sellout holiday destinations like Goa, especially in the wake of the Scarlett Keeling case. And it's not just the police, mafia and goon nexus in places like these that are to be blamed, but even the average tourist who throngs such places with the hope that anything and everything is allowed here in this land of the sun and sand.
Goa was a very liberal, or is a very, very liberal society. So we just shrug our shoulders whenever these things happen. You wouldn't dare wear a bikini and a swimsuit anywhere in North India or wherever. You can do that in Goa, and people have been doing that in Goa for years.
It's a perfect place for Indian men to take huge bus loads often and basically take a trip to Goa. And I've seen men like there with binoculars, so I kind of think you could make it easier on yourself by not exposing yourself to that extreme.
To a great extent, I think we must admit that a lot of foreign tourists perhaps come here because they know that drugs is very easy.
The way Goa has been marketed is part of the problem. It has been marketed for quite some time, since the mid-70s, as an area where you have carnival 365 days of the year.
I disagree with you on these counts, that Goa is completely unsafe for tourists, or that every white woman is sort of sought to be molested by Goan men or people who are around here, or that every Goan is a complete stoned out dopey. I think, that image is not really fair. I think there are pockets, these are issues that have to be addressed. You just have to correct them.
The harassment of tourists in India is becoming a national embarrassment, with cases of rape and molestation only increasing by the day. A brief recap of the last few months itself is a shocking reminder. 20th December 2007, Navi Mumbai. A 36-year-old Finnish woman is assaulted and raped by an unidentified driver. 23rd December 2007, Udaipur. A 40-year-old British journalist is raped by the hotel manager Parvat Singh when she calls for an extra blanket. 31st December 2007, Kochi. A group of youngsters misbehave with the daughter of a Swedish tourist when the family visits India for the New Year. 6 January 2008, Pushkar. A 37-year-old Swiss tourist alleges that she is raped by Nanu Rawat, owner of Nanu Garden restaurant in Pushkar. 7th January 2008, Goa. 32-year-old Agnello Nerona, owner of a beach shack in Utorda Beach in South Goa, molests a 27-year-old Russian tourist. 7th January 2008, Pushkar. A 28-year-old US tourist is molested by Satya Narayan, a 35-year-old priest in Pushkar. 11th January 2008, Goa. A 32-year-old British national complains that she was taken to an open place and raped by an unknown person in Panaji. 19th March 2008, Mumbai. 42-year-old cabbie Syed Qayyum Syed Hafiz forcibly kisses a 23-year-old Russian national.
Thank you. Hello, namaste.
Shahnaz is a regular visitor to India. Her parents are based in Goa, and that brings this young UK national to the country at frequent intervals. But spending a day with Shahnaz, we learn that the ease with which she moves around today isn't an overnight feat, but a practiced, learned the hard way lesson that she has almost perfected.
10 years ago, I probably came across a bit as a lost sheep, quite vulnerable, quite young. But now, because I have been exposed to negative aspects in India, I kind of walk differently, I hold myself differently, I try to project myself differently. And I have used different strategies. So for example, the second time I was coming to backpack around India, I made more of an effort to camouflage myself. So I actually shaved my hair off so that I wouldn't be perceived as like an object of desire. And I would wear more sort of like clothes that were a bit longer and a bit more modest. So, 36, 30 rupiah. 18. This was actually in a bar in Mumbai, and I was just there getting a drink, and somebody basically just reached out and basically grabbed my breast. So then I just screamed no, and I wanted to embarrass him, and then actually he did it again, and then I was really upset, and I just said to him, that's really disgusting, it's really offensive, it's not pleasant, it's not funny, because he was kind of laughing, and I said, if you do it again, I'm not accountable for my reaction. I mean, such incidents will occur anywhere in India. It's not specific to the north or south or east or west, in my experience.
Coming up, on the other side of this break, we follow a tourist around the city of Mumbai as she goes about finding her bearings in an unfamiliar country. Her fights, her frights, her joys. We catch all that and more on Spy Cam.
This show brought to you by Naukri.com, India's #1 job site. Unibake cookies. You deserve a great day. सिर्फ एक्स्ट्रा माइल सुपर डीजल से ही बहुत दूर तक जाओगे.
Space. Space to play. Space to live. Space to learn. The best spaces are always planned with children in mind. HDIL, the new face of real estate.
In my work, I depend on my eyes to capture the natural wonder of this planet. That's why I wear Transitions lenses to see better today and tomorrow. They adjust to changing light to reduce eye strain and fatigue and help protect my eyes from UV damage like sunblock protects my skin. You can replace the camera, but you only have one pair of eyes.
Ask your optician today about Transitions lenses. Transitions, healthy sight in every light.
राहों के रास्ते में कोई ऐसा मुकाम आए, खुशियों की मार्केट में अगर गम की दुकान आए, मेरा साथ ना छोड़ देना, मेरा साथ ना छोड़ देना, यूं ही साथ चलते चलते।
जिंदगी में हमारी अगर तूफान आए या रिश्तों को हमारे कभी जुकाम आए, रास्ते ढूंढ लेंगे, यूं ही साथ चलते चलते।
Yamaha Gladiator, Type SS, Type RS. Stop commuting. Start sport biking. Yamaha. Tickets to the amusement park, 5,600 rupees. Watching your parents become children again, priceless. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard.
बेटे, तुम्हारे बाबूजी का आखिरी खत। प्यारे नयन सुख, पिछले बर्थडे पर तुमने जो पिक्चर दिखाई थी वो बिल्कुल बेकार थी। जी मैं तुम्हारी कनपट्टी से ऐसी पिक्चर दिखाने का मजाक अपने तो क्या किसी के बाप के साथ नहीं करना चाहिए।
फिल्मों के मस्तानों को बोलने का मौका चाहिए। आ गया UTV मूवीज चैनल, देखो सबसे बड़ी फिल्में और बोलो जो है दिल में।
ड्राइवर, मैच के बाद यहीं से पिकअप करना, ओके?
Let's go.
Guess who's saving for Unitech Grande? See what life can be at Unitech Grande.
We are looking at India through the eyes of the white woman tourist or visiting professional to share her experiences, live through her anxieties and understand her tryst with our country.
Sometimes you just stand there like, no, shut up, and I don't want to listen to you anymore.
The foreign tourist, especially the white-skinned vacationer, has been at the mercy of the average male lout's gaze and often harassed mercilessly, an increasing number of such incidents that have left the country ashamed.
A person with a white skin also, you feel it's a sort of a reverse conquest, that you are achieving something over an European, whereas always the Europeans were on the top during the previous era. So I think it's a subconscious thing of getting even or getting back at the white skin.
I think there is a difference between, the educated and the non-educated men. The non-educated, a lot of times scare me with their puzzled looks. I don't understand what they're saying. I don't understand why they're looking at me.
"24-year-old Olga Razumovskaya is a Russian. She's a journalist with an international news organization in Mumbai and part of a large influx of foreigners planning to associate their careers with India. Olga's been here for 8 months, but her basket of experiences have already left her a skeptic.
At first, I didn't know the city that well. People were always, especially men, trying to trick me. Shopping was very difficult because I didn't know the prices, I didn't know the taxi fares. So basically, traveling anywhere was next to impossible. These tiny little touristy things that make your experience in a country very pleasant are difficult here. Sometimes we simply give up because, we get tired. We just had a long day at work and, we don't want to deal with these things.
Taking a foreigner on a ride is not an unfamiliar story. We ourselves have heard and brushed off several. Following Olga with a hidden camera for a short distance gives us a first-hand account of what exactly happens at the ground level.
NCPA? I don't know where it is. Why no meter? Why? Stop here. Sir?
excuse me, could you please help me out? He took me from Taj to here, and I asked him to turn the meter on, and he says, no, no, no. What? I don't know. He says...
देखो भाई गाँव विदेश से लोग आते हैं क्यों ऐसा करते हो आप लोग? And you just not pay him 20 bucks only.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Even at the famous Chowpatty beach, kids realize that white skin can fetch them easy dollars.
$2. Change. अरे
And if thirsty, a bottle of mineral water can cost anything between 100 and 200 rupees.
One water bottle, 200.
But is this the same story across the country? We reached across the length of India and asked visiting tourists to give us their candid opinion.
That you get hassled all the time when you're a Westerner. You know that people are running after you and want to make business with you and all that kind of stuff. You cannot really walk around in peace.
Came first time in Calcutta and I feel very safe.
It's a bit daunting for us, especially on your own.
This is my first time here. I wouldn't go anywhere by myself because I think that would be to expose yourself to danger.
People should take care of themselves. They can't leave everything up to the governments of a country.
It didn't deter me from coming away. One thing, I haven't got young daughters and I'm here with my husband and I felt very safe indeed. I think we need to take extra care when we're away.
I don't know, it's just really, really annoying if somebody always stares at you or comes to you just taking pictures of you all the time with your mobile. They're standing there like pretending to take a phone call and then you hear the sound of...
I don't feel too safe actually. Yeah, no, I feel like I need to be careful.
I don't walk around like that. It's like, hello, come on, touch me. So, must be like that, yeah. But I want to know the answer. If you find out the answer, then you can tell me.
A colonial hangover or just a bias called colour? We tried to find some answers from Delhi's Jawaharlal Nehru University campus from among some of its foreign and local students.
Is India really a sought-after destination for people coming from abroad? And are we as Indians colour conscious and prejudiced? We'll ask some of these questions to students from JNU. Let's begin with Khalid. Khalid, you come from Sudan. So what has been your experience so far in India?
I do feel that there is some a bit of discriminations, especially against black people in India.
What about you, Tahira?
You know, maybe the behavior of the people here is very different with us because we are lighter. You go out, everybody keep looking at you, and you don't feel comfortable.
No matter what you do, even if you dress Indian, you're always looked upon as an outsider. So does that bother you?
People just stare at you even if you wear salwar kameez or sari. I've been living here for almost 2 years and they still treat you as a tourist.
Have you been able to figure a way out?
From my experience, speaking in Hindi helps with many situations.
One of the things that always upset me is a lot of times when I travel in India, a lot of people will come up to you and they want to talk. And they ask you the basic questions. How are you, sir? Where are you from? What are you doing? And they don't ask the questions because they care. It's because they're trying to find a way to get in with you, to be friends with you, so that maybe they can sell you on something.
You are an Indian. You know what it is to be a student in JNU. Do you see very obvious discriminations within the foreign student body?
We find a lot of people with half-baked education, with very half-baked ideas around regarding foreigners, regarding foreign students. And that is where the problem comes, because people like these people sitting out here with me, for instance, even Robert out there, they want here to lead a life which is peaceful, which is actually to be left on their own, not treated as somebody from another planet.
So what are the issues that you face? Like, what are the crimes you are supposedly
just being a black is a crime. Being a black is a blacklisted. Being a black, you are a drug dealer. Being a black, you are a Nigerian, even if you're not a Nigerian. Though many Nigerians are doing very good things in this country, playing football, contributing positively to the Indian football or whatever, but it's still black are blacks.
People who are getting caught in drug peddling are only Nigerians. I mean, to an extent, what has been reported in the media, I mean, my knowledge rests on that, has been true. Okay, there have been a lot of people and most of them have been Nigerians. But problem is that you should see and this from this angle as well. There are a lot of Indians actually who are involved in this. They are never reported.
Do you sometimes feel very skeptical about this nation and that, oh, let's just go back home because it's not worth it?
The negative things, it will never worry me. It will never worry me. It will give me, like, I want to, like, make use of my own relations with my relation which I made it here with my Indian friend here in the future. I wish if I could have changed my color and my hair and being an Indian.
Tyra, you wanted to say something.
We have also very, very good friends, very, very good memories also. Sometimes they ignore us, it is something always there. That is other point. But we have very, very good friends also that they always are there for help us.
Tahira is not the only one, and there are in fact many like her. If we detract from the evident mistreatment of foreigners for a while and look around, we'll probably find as many who are in love with India as those who are having a tough time. Nabil is an Indophile. Coming from a Polish and African background, this 26-year-old management consultant was left mesmerized by India's complexity.
Coming to India, I came to do development work, and I understood that India was rough around the edges. I felt, however, that Bombay was a little bit more polished. And it is, but I guess more so, it's less so than I had expected. So my first 5 months here were pretty tough. Hey, Kabaji. Very good. Very good. After 5 months, I had started to develop some really good relationships with people. Everyone from, friends that I had met, Indians or expats, to the guy who's selling me pao across the street. And I realized that those relationships were, in a way, even more special than I've had elsewhere. Sardines here? Sardine? Matti. Okay. There's just a connection and an energy between people that exists in Bombay that I don't find in the US and I don't find in many other places that I've been to. Something clicked, and I realized the value of those relationships, and I realized why people enjoy being in India. It's that sense of community, it's that rapport. And once you understand that, I think that really keeps you here. At last. Okay. Thank you. There you go.
In an India coping with the sudden economic boom and Western influx, it's perhaps shocking for the closeted Indian to come to terms with the openness that he typically associates with the Western tourist. However, what is unpardonable is the bias that exists even in the big cities. It's a bias that must be dispelled with by those who are promoting tourism, educational tourism, and also medical tourism. The sooner, the better.
सरप्राइज! पहली गाड़ी हो तो ऐसी बिल्कुल लो मेंटेनेंस और माइलेज 15 से भी ज्यादा। 12 लाख से ज्यादा लोग यूं ही सैंट्रो वाले नहीं बने। हमारे घर को क्या हुआ? ये सब
आखिर पहली गाड़ी है।
Centrozing, खुशियों में समझौता नहीं।
In my work, I depend on my eyes to capture the natural wonder of this planet. That's why I wear transitions lenses. They adjust to changing light and help protect my eyes from UV damage like sunblock protects my skin.
Ask your optician today about transitions lenses.
Washable paint है, California orange.
California orange से नागपुर orange.
दाग के साथ वॉशेबल पेंट भी गया। यूज बर्जर रंगोली इजी क्लीन पेंट। इसमें है क्रॉस लिंकिंग पॉलीमर्स, जिसका गहरा दाग भी आसानी से जाए पर रंग ना जाए। नो दाग, नो धब्बा।
Business class tickets for your parents' first international vacation? 110,000 rupees on your MasterCard. Renting a luxury car? 8,000 rupees. Tickets to the amusement park? 5,600 rupees. Watching your parents become children again? Priceless.
There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. Accept it wherever your travels may take you.
भाई साहब ये पार्सल हो रहा।
क्या भेजा वरुण ने? एसी। अच्छा है, बहुत अच्छा है।
लगता है आपने मेरी चिट्ठी नहीं पढ़ी माँ।
चिट्ठी?
प्रणाम बाबूजी। दिल पर बिल का बोझ मत लीजिएगा। वोल्टास का स्टार रेटेड एसी है। कम बिजली के खर्चे में ज्यादा कूलिंग देगा और सेविंग्स भी। बेझिझक चलाइएगा। आपका बेटा।
वोल्टास, जैसा इंडिया का दिल वैसा इंडिया का एसी।
जरा मोहतात रहना। देखो मालूम नहीं गुस्से में अमेरिकन कैसे रिएक्ट।
So where are you from?
पाकिस्तान।
Don't tell me you don't know what this 9 and this 11 mean!
There is a season for everything. A time to be born and a time to die. A time for peace and a time for war.
Edelweiss 20s Challenge, live and exclusive on Z Sports and Ten Sports.
Having waited 4 years, young faces are likely to make an entry into the Union Cabinet as the swearing-in ceremony takes place at the Rashtrapati Bhavan this evening. It's being seen as the last presidential handshake. US President George W. Bush and his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin are holding crucial talks in Russia. She's on top of the world. Literally, Parvati Manakuttan walks away with the Pantaloons Femina Miss India World 2008 crown.
It's a great feeling and it's something that's beyond expression.
The glitterati turned up to add their glamour quotient to the event. Kareena wowed the audience as Seth cheered on. After the mauling at Motera, selectors set to rein in changes in the pace department ahead of the final test. Indian pacer Ishant Sharma declared fit for the final test against the Proteas. Good afternoon and welcome to News Now. I'm Niharika Chugh. Our top story: after a wait of 4 years, the Youth Brigade will finally get a chance, say sources, as Prime Minister Manmohan Singh and Congress President Sonia Gandhi expand the current cabinet later today. The ministers who are expected to be sworn in at the Rashtrapati Bhavan this evening will in all probability include a lot of young faces, with young leaders like Jyotiraditya Scindia. The Scindia scion from Gwalior is likely to make the cut. The other young contenders who are likely to be inducted into the cabinet are Sachin Pilot, the pilot scion from Dausa constituency of Rajasthan, and Jitin Prasad, MP from Shahjahanpur constituency in UP. Meanwhile, G.K. Vasan is likely to get promoted from Minister of State to cabinet rank. Also, Priyaranjan Das Munshi is likely to give away his parliamentary affairs portfolio to Vaila Ravi, who is currently the overseas minister. Meanwhile, speculation about Tamil Nadu Chief Minister's daughter, Kanimuri, making it to the cabinet was silenced by Kanimuri herself. Sources in the DMK close to Times Now have said that she is not in the race for a cabinet seat. The cabinet reshuffle was on the cards as MOS for Parliamentary Affairs Suresh Pachori and MOS for Planning M.V. Rajashekharan resigned yesterday. And here's a look at which portfolios are up for grabs in the wake of a reshuffle. Parliamentary Affairs portfolio is likely to be up for grabs as Priyaranjan Das Munshi is likely to take charge of the West Bengal Congress unit. Also, Suresh Pachori's term in Rajya Sabha has just ended, which puts both his portfolios of MOS Parliamentary Affairs and MOS for Department of Personal and Public Grievances up for grabs. Also, with the M.V. Rajashekharan resigning as Minister of State for Planning, his portfolio is also up for grabs. And for more on that story, we're now being joined by our correspondent Sanjeev in New Delhi. Sanjeev, looks like the Congress is finally living up to its promise of giving opportunities to the youth.
Yes, in fact, some may say that it's a little too late, a little too little too late. But of course, the Congress were hoping that the last year, just before the general elections, they would want to send that message across that the Congress party does actually stand for the youth. And now with Congress General Secretary Rahul Gandhi himself getting more and more active into politics, that could be one major reason why we are seeing that at least the names of Jyotiraditya Scindia almost clear for a cabinet, for a ministerial berth. Other big names, of course, Sachin Pilot and Jitin Prasad also being discussed. So a message from the Congress president to not just the party but also to the people in general, that whatever they've been saying in the past 4 years, that they do stand for the youth. Finally, the time has come, even though it may be a little bit too late, but this will give that added impetus, that push to the party, especially in the youth, when they face the general elections whenever later this year or early next year.
Right. Sanjeev, also, how would one view this, since all this while there's been talk about an early election, like you said, and now this cabinet reshuffle?
Yes, of course, the Congress also trying to send the message after